Emergency managers from 5 counties in Colorado are asking the FCC and cell phone companies to improve the system that sends you Amber Alerts and evacuation notices. They say that technical limitations with that system can often send those targeted messages to people way outside the target area. Our Steve Stager just stepped inside his own target area. Hold on now. There he is. He's in the box. That one was nip and tuck for us, Steve. You've been studying this alert system since the Marshall Fire, and you have found that there's some hesitancy to use these wireless emergency alerts, these WEAs, because of the known issues.
Yeah, and that's troubling because this system is really important because it can potentially reach everyone with a cell phone in a specific area, even if they haven't signed up for alerts. The problem is the infrastructure of wireless emergency alerts, or WEA, leaves a lot to be desired. Emergency leaders for Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Jefferson, and Larimer counties wrote to the FCC in June asking commissioners for a whole list of things, including one really odd-sounding change. See, right now the WEA system can't handle a shape for an alert that includes more than 100 points on the map. That's the limit, so you can't draw a really intricate shape. These emergency leaders argue that they've spent years pre-drawing evacuation areas in communities that are pretty specific. They've studied and tested ways in and ways out for these places. They know that they'll work in an evacuation. Problem is, many of these areas are intricate shapes with more than 100 lines. So now, if they need to order an evacuation instead of using their pre-drawn shape in an evacuation, they have to start from scratch, which takes time, something you need in an emergency. Boulder's emergency manager is part of the group asking for this change.
If WEAs can be tightened up, then the tool becomes a lot more surgical. We're using a scalpel as opposed to a butter knife and trying to cut this out when we're doing these evacuations, and that will help out with mitigating some of those other issues.
So among the demands from emergency managers, they want cell phone companies to try to figure out a way to upgrade the WEA software on people's phones. Right now, cell phone companies estimate about 40% of cell phones in use don't have the technology that helps really geo-target these alerts. We're going to show you a real extreme case here in Colorado of all of that going terribly wrong tonight at 9 and 10, and we'll talk about some of the possible solutions to fix it. But in the meantime, you can actually go to 9news.com. We're going to have an article up, I believe, later on tonight, and you can see what software you have on your phone by provider to try to see, am I going to get these messages from really far away? Because I get calls from people all the time, and they'll say, I got a message, someone else didn't get the message, and I just ask how old their phone is, and usually that's the culprit.
Interesting. You can see how frustrating that is for emergency managers. They know their communities, they know the best ways in and out during an emergency, and basically they just have to kind of like dumb it down and click, 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 and send that off, as opposed to like their really thoughtful way to get people out.
Yeah, they've tested these scenarios. They know that those communities can evacuate certain ways in, certain ways out. There's one community that's actually sent out a training bulletin, says if you're going to send a WEA, just draw a square or draw a circle, because that's how simple they have to make it.
Yeah, that's precise. All right. Thank you, Steve.